Good afternoon, Year 5, or good morning, Year 5, rather, and welcome to today's history lesson, or our topic lesson on ancient Greece. So today's LO is to compare the modern Olympics against ancient Greek Olympics. So I'd like you to write that in your books, along with topic at the top of your page, as well as today's date, Friday, the 22nd of January. And we're going to be focusing, obviously, on the Olympics today. Okay, so the first task I would like you to do, Year 5, is just have a little think to yourself on what do you remember about the most recent Olympic Games. Okay, so maybe you went to the Olympics in England back in 2012. I know all of you would have been very young back then, but maybe you've got some memories, or maybe your family have got some memories of that. Maybe they went to some of the events. Okay, and if you didn't go, obviously just have a little think about the most recent Olympic Games. What can you remember? So write down some of the events that you remember, maybe, or anything that you can remember about the Olympic Games, maybe the symbol, anything at all. I don't mind. So have a go at that for me, write down some of your ideas, and then we'll move on. Okay, so obviously we've looked at the modern Olympic Games a little bit, you've thought about that, and now we're going to focus a little bit more upon the ancient Greek Olympic Games. So these Olympic Games, the Olympic Games as a whole, actually started for the very first time in ancient Greece. This is where the very first Olympics began. Okay, and it happened because there was a lot of different states in ancient Greece who often fought each other. Okay, and there was a lot of war going on. But during the Olympics, peace was always declared. So no fighting would go on. There'd be no wars, and everyone would come together and enjoy the games. Okay. So it would just be a little pause in all the war and all the fighting, and everybody would come together and celebrate and enjoy the Olympic Games. So the Olympic Games actually began in 776 BC. So that's almost 3,000 years ago, okay, in Olympia, which is one of the cities in Greece. It is believed that the games were a religious event to honor Zeus, who was the king of the gods. Okay, so already we can see there are so many differences between ancient Greek Olympics, okay, so why they did it, for example, compared to the modern Olympics, the Olympics that happens nowadays. So what I want you to do now is just have a look at these 8 pictures below for me, and just have a little think. You don't have to do any writing, okay? And what do you think each event is showing? Some of them are a little bit harder than others. Some of them are quite self-explanatory, okay? But just have a little think to yourselves what's happening in each event. Okay, so what I want you to do now, and I want you to do some writing for this, is how do you think that we know what happened? Okay, so what I mean by this is how do we know that these events happened in ancient Greece? What evidence is there to show that these events actually happened? Have we just made it up? Okay, because obviously back in 776 BC, there weren't any phones, so you couldn't get any pictures, you couldn't get any videos. So if there's no pictures, no videos, what evidence could there be to show that these events happened? So have a little think about that and write down any ideas that you might have. Don't worry too much if you're wrong. That's absolutely fine. Okay, this is just trying to brainstorm ideas of how we might know what that these events actually happened. So let's have a look now at the answer to that. So some of the evidence about the games comes from paintings, and most commonly found on vases. So loads of information that we found about the Olympic Games comes on pots like these. Okay, so on vases. Okay, so you can see the images on these pots, and that's how we've worked out that there were Olympic Games all the way back then. Okay, and we can work out what events it were. So what I want you to do now is have a look at the different Olympic pottery. So there's a attachment onto the website as well with loads of pots on, and I want you to write down which event you think each pot is showing. Okay, so they're all going to be Olympic events, and I want you to have a guess at what you think each event might be. Some are a lot harder than others, and that's fine, but just give them your best go. If you can't access that for any reason, then have a look at these images, have a guess at what you think these might be showing, and also have a look back at these as well if you can't access that attachment on the website. But hopefully you all should do. I just know some of you have had issues sometimes. Okay, so yeah, have a look at that for me. Write down what events you think they are. Okay, let's move on then once you've done that. So what I want you to do now, there is another attachment on the website containing an image of a Venn diagram, very much like this one shown on the screen here. So what I want you to do is either print out that sheet, or if you can't, that's absolutely fine. You can draw your own Venn diagram that looks very much like this. You might want to turn your book landscape, and then I want you to draw a Venn diagram. So what I mean by a Venn diagram, okay, so it says here, complete the Venn diagram showing ancient events, modern events, and events that are in both. So all the ancient Greek events that occurred in the Olympics, I want you to put on this side. All the events that occur in the modern day Olympics, I want you to put this side. And if there are any that happen in both ancient Greece and now, I want you to put in the middle. So you might want to make this middle bit a little bit bigger than what I've done here, because then you can fit more information in the middle, because I think there's quite a few that do actually overlap. Now, to get this information, feel free to obviously rewind this video and have a look at the PowerPoint, and you can also do your own research to add in any extra events that have not been mentioned, okay? And feel free to obviously use the images of the pots as well. Okay, there'll be loads on there that you can add into the ancient Greece section, or perhaps into the middle section. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. That's your main task today. And once you've done that year 5, there is a little challenge that you can do as well. We'll guess the event. So secretly choose an ancient Greek Olympic event. So any of the ancient Greek events that we've looked at, you can choose one. And I want you to make a pose showing your chosen event. So I want you to stand in a position, imitating or acting almost in a frozen position, the event of your an ancient Greek Olympic event, and then get a picture of it, send it in. I want to see all these creative sides, and then we can have a look, and we can guess what your event is. If you don't want to do this, then you can do a drawing instead, perhaps, of an ancient Greece event, and I can still have a go at guessing that as well. Okay, thank you very much, year 5. So there are all your tasks set for you. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, draw out your image if you don't want to send in your own pose. That's absolutely fine, and then I can have a go at guessing it all. So complete all that for me at year 5. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you in our live lesson later on. Thank you very much.